He was one of the finest and most influential guitarists in the history of jazz. He had everything: originality and a mastery of all three basic elements of music: melody, rhythm, and harmony. Who was Wes Montgomery? Here on Big on Bebop. He was born John Lewis Wes Montgomery on March 6, 1925 in Indianapolis, Indiana. The family was large and the parents split up early in the lives of the children. Montgomery and his brothers moved to Columbus, Ohio with their father and attended Champion High School. His older brother Monk dropped out of school to sell coal and ice, gradually saving enough money to buy Wes a 4-string tenor guitar from a pawn shop in 1935. He and his brothers returned to Indianapolis by 1943. Montgomery found work as a welder and got married. He heard a Charlie Christian record for the first time, which motivated him to buy a 6-string guitar the next day. For nearly a year, night and day, he played imitating Christian and to teach himself the guitar. He received no formal instruction and couldn't read music. By the age of 20, he was performing in clubs in Indianapolis at night, copying Christian solos while working during the day at a milk company. In 1948, when Lionel Hampton was on tour in Indianapolis, he was looking for a guitarist. He heard Montgomery play like Charlie Christian and hired him on the spot. Montgomery spent 2 years with Hampton's band from 1948 to 1950 and then returned to Indianapolis. He went back to performing at local clubs, this time with Eddie Higgins Trio and the Roger Jones Quintet. He joined his brothers Buddy and Monk with saxophonist Alonzo Pookie Johnson, playing similar to the style of George Shearing. After residency from 1955 to 1957, Montgomery and his brothers went west. Buddy and Monk Montgomery formed the Master Sounds and signed a contract with Dick Bach at Pacific Jazz. Wes joined them for a recording session in 1957 that included Freddie Hubbard. He worked as a welder during the day to support his wife and 7 children, then performed at 2 clubs at night until well in the morning. He was a smoker and was experiencing blackouts while trying to maintain this busy schedule. During one performance, the audience included Cannonball Adderley, George Shearing, and Lenny Tristano. Adderley was so impressed by Montgomery's guitar playing that he persuaded Orrin Keepnews to sign him to Riverside Records. In 1960, he recorded the incredible jazz guitar of Wes Montgomery with Tommy Flanagan, Percy Heath, and Albert Heath. He joined his brothers in California to perform as the Montgomery Brothers for the Monterey Jazz Festival. The Master Sounds had broken up, and Buddy and Monk had signed with Fantasy and recorded with Wes. Montgomery recorded another album as a leader, So Much Guitar. Then, while visiting his brothers, had a chance to perform with John Coltrane's group in San Francisco. After 2 more organ trio jazz sessions for Riverside Records in 1963, Boss Guitar and Portrait of Wes, Montgomery left the label for Verve Records. At Verve, Montgomery began working with producer Creed Taylor, who produced Montgomery for the rest of the guitarist's life. Creed Taylor steered him in a commercial direction with velvety, carefully charted accompaniment. They considerably increased Montgomery's income, but seriously diluted the jazz value of his recordings. His first Verve release, Movin' West, in 1964, was an instrumental pop album arranged by Johnny Pate. He quickly sold more than 100,000 copies and repositioned Montgomery within the recording industry as a crossover artist capable of significant LP sales. At Verve, Montgomery released his last 2 small group jazz albums, a 1965 collaboration with Wynton Kelly and a 1966 collaboration with organist Jimmy Smith. But his main focus was recording contemporary pop hits as instrumentals. Montgomery had notable success with his versions of California Dreamin', Tequila, Going Out of My Head. After moving to A&M, Montgomery had his biggest radio hit, a version of Windy, a pop song originally recorded by the Association. Of the 10 Wes Montgomery albums that Taylor produced while Montgomery was alive, all recorded for Verve and A&M Records. 8 were aimed at the pop market, The success of these albums led to invitations for Montgomery to perform on major U.S. television shows, including The Hollywood Palace and The Tonight Show, starring Johnny Carson. Wes Montgomery was at the height of his commercial success when he died of a heart attack on June 15, 1968, at his home in Indianapolis. He was 45 years old. Wes Montgomery, who did not read music and used his thumb instead of a pick, developed a much imitated style based on parallel octaves played with an exceptionally strong sense of swing. He was considered by many to be the most influential guitarist since Charlie Christian. Wes Montgomery, a legendary jazz bebop guitar player.